For today's panel discussion, we will be focusing on tech profile. I, Sadvika Kadari, and Swarnav Bagh, we the secretaries at Communique, will be your host for today's panel discussion.
I request the panel people to switch on their camera if they can. Thank you. Okay. So we have with us Vidit Goel from Instrumentation Engineering, who interned at IBM, Shivansh Mudra from Mechanical Engineering Department, who did his intern from LinkedIn and got his PPO from the same, and Chinmay Singh from Chemical Engineering Department, who did his intern at Apple. So without further delay, let's begin the session.
So, yeah, we will move on to the first question. So, there are different domains and profiles to hit on at Kharagpur. So, how did you guys decide on the profiles you want to attempt? So, Chinmay, would you like to share your thoughts on this?
Hello everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this session. Uh, Deciding on the profiles that you want to attempt, I think since all of us attempted for multinational companies and tech majors, they are not essentially looking to train you and teach you from ground up. So I think the decision on the kind of profile that you want to attempt would align with your prior experience as well as what where your interests lie. So the projects that you've done, the courses that you've pursued, or any such kind of experiences, previous internships. If you have those, then you would have done those only if you had interest. So I think that is how I chose my field of interest. Yeah.
Okay, so Shivansh, would you like to add on this?
Yeah, like as Chinmay said, first of all, yeah, thanks for inviting me to this. I hope some of who are looking for getting an intern get their desired intern. So regarding what Chinmay said, I guess all of you must be in like third or fourth year if you're looking for an off-campus intern, maybe in second year. So you have done some sort of work before, and in a way, if you are like multi-talented, I mean, you have done some work in software, some work in say machine learning, some work in any other criteria. You just look for the companies who are doing work in those areas, and then I guess select the profile. So I mean, it's very, you can say it's very hard compared to select the profile. I mean, first select like what field you want to work in, and then these are not binary. I mean, you could work in a software, and then maybe there's some portion of ML involved in it, and if you're doing for ML, there's some portion of software involved in it. So yeah, it's like a little bit hazy, but yeah. Regarding what you have done till now, just go for the company.
So, yeah, Vidit, would you like to share your insights on this?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for inviting me as well. Yeah, and I think both of them have covered most of the points, but I would like to add some more points. For example, as Shivansh said, there might be many aspects to an intern. Like there might be software part as well, there might be ML part as well. So, for example, if you get if you have the opportunity to uh, apply in many companies or you have offers, so you can maybe select the profiles which you want to add in your CV. For example, if you have done various more research-based interns and you have an opportunity for a more industry-based experience, for example, both engineering plus research. So maybe you can also decide on those factors to choose your profile. But as I said, it's more of a what opportunities do you get based on your CV and experiences.
Okay, so I think we should move on to the next question. So the most crucial part for getting any intern is reaching out to the company. So what, according to you guys, are the most effective ways to reach out to the companies? So Shivansh, would you like to start answering this question?
Yeah, sure. So, like this is, I guess, the bottleneck in applying to off-campus interns that you don't get, replies from HR or maybe an interview call. Like in CDC, you are sure that if you applied, there's some result coming out of your way. But in off campus, this happens most of the time that like 90% of your applications aren't being looked down even. So I think the one thing that I've seen in my case and my friends, means all of them have applied, is like referrals and seniors who are working there. So that's like a basic and the most important point. Just look out for people who are working there. Talk to them. You can talk to them either maybe in your informal network or maybe through LinkedIn. But talk to them that I'm looking for this intern. If there is any position, you can tell me, or either you can look onto their career pages and just tell them that can you refer me. What happens is when you apply for an off-campus intern, maybe they have a career page, maybe they don't have. I don't know. Like they can be startups which operate a little bit informally. So what happens when you apply on these pages? The priority always get to those who have some sort of referrals. So first they take those referral people, they interview them, and if there's some space left after that, they start looking at those profiles. And what happens mostly, like 90% of the time, they only select from those referrals. So just like if possible, just ensure that you have some sort of referral from any um, member working in that company and reach out to those people. I mean, that's the best case. Otherwise, there are some um, there's some Google groups. There's again sites like Indeed and these kind of platforms where you can see that they are off campus. Just look for the openings through these, social media pages and these kind of things. Just look for the opening, and then once you find an opening, just ping any member of the company through LinkedIn or some sort of network and ask for referral. That's the best way. Yeah.
Okay. So, Vidit, would you like to add something to this?
So I think I would definitely agree to the point that it's not the case that you would apply and you would definitely hear from an HR or anybody, even if your profile is the best profile in the whole group. I mean, it's not that they're looking at your profile and then rejecting you. It's most of the case they're not looking at your profile. So because there are thousands of applications. So I think a more effective and a safe bet would be to always reach out to someone who is working in the company. It might be anyone. I mean, you can, if you're not able to get someone to a top-notch person, just contact the HR or whomever you can contact to. Just get into the circle inside the company, and it would make things easier for you.
Okay. So, Chinmay, would you like to add anything to the question?
Yeah, besides what Shivansh and Vidit already covered, which is like most of it, some things that like some little pointers that I would wanted to give are like if you're applying for some role in a major company and there is a requirement like let's say should the person should be in their final year. So if you're not a final year and you spend your time applying on it, it will mostly go in vain because they usually do not consider such applications. Getting a referral is obviously very important for startups and other such kind of companies. I think you can also approach people on LinkedIn. Like college alumni are always one of the best people to approach. Besides that, you can also like send messages to other people that who have posted. You can search the content people who have posted for an intern or opening or anything like that. And also like keep a CV well prepared because most of the people would ask you for your CV. So make a good formal CV and converse in a very formal tone when you're approaching people on LinkedIn, and have a good statement of purpose and like define what addition you would bring to a team if you were given the opportunity. So keeping all these things in mind and then applying would be much better. And obviously, if you're applying for a major tech company or any place which gets a lot of applications, having a referral, I think, is pretty much the only way that you're going to make through.
Okay, so we will move on to the next question. So there is this always a constant dilemma of whether should we opt for the pressure environment at a startup or should we go with that better company brand. So yeah, Vidit, would you like to speak about it?
Sure. So actually, it is not that simple question as it is written on the slide, and so I would give some aspects to it. For example, let's take a case. In my case, like I wanted a research intern. That is, I'm not only doing a software development, but I also wanted to get a more researchy field. So in that case, it might be possible that even if you go for startups. So for example, there are startups such as 5AI, and I just remember it at the top of my head, but there are many others. So going at that places would also be a good opportunity because there are very good bunch of people there. And that would be say that uh, you can do that when you're not in your pre-final year, when you're not bothered about whether you want a secure a job, or you're expecting that you get a PPO from it. But and if you're in a say second or third year, maybe you can definitely approach the startups because it might be possible they consider you. I mean, it might be easier for you, and compared to any other big brands. Whereas generally, when we are in say pre-final year and we expect that we want to get a job, then we generally prefer. I would say I would generally prefer going to a big brand because in that case you never know how things will go. So at least if you get an security that you might get a PPO and secure a job, that would be good. So and as per the work, I think as far as the industrial research work goes, I think uh, it depends on the people that you are with, rather than the company. So and for more development purposes or the intersection of more development and engineering, I think Shivansh and Chinmay would be able to answer better.
Yeah, so Chinmay, would you like to add something to it?
Yeah. So what I think is like firstly it's kind of like a personal choice because if you're not in your pre-final year, then I think it's a choice that you have to make between a company, brand, or a pressured environment. Some little things that I have experienced through the experience of like realized through the experience of my friends is like a lot of places at startups, if you are kind of like getting an unpaid internship or some that kind of a startup, like they don't give you very meaningful work, and it kind of binds you to the entire thing for the duration of 2 or 3 months, and that gets very much monotonous. So I'd say like you should try to understand what kind of work you're getting before going in for any kind of intern. Like read the job description well, talk to the recruiters what you're gonna do, and besides that, also keep in mind that a lot of startups, like if they haven't had interns previously, they won't have a well-established routine or a work goal that you're going to follow. Like the work is very organized when you go for a major company or a brand, and it makes it easier to do an internship if it's like your first internship, and there are a lot of people to support you. But then it totally depends on you. I'd suggest in the pre-final year it's better to go for a brand because it adds to your CV if you want to go for placements. If you want to pursue research or things like that, I think university is better. But yeah, then it's always your personal choice what you want to do. Yeah.
Okay, so Shivansh, we wish to listen to your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I can give some more understanding to what these two have told because I've interned like in a startup also and then in big company also. What happens is, see, I'll just tell you the points that will help you to decide whether you want to do. First of all, if you're in a pre-final year, I mean, uh, most of the chances you want a job security, right? You don't want to stuck in a place where you are getting some good work, but then there's no job, like they won't give even PPO, and the structure is also not good. So if you're in your pre-final year and you're sure you want to get a job or start your career with a big name, because obviously it adds to your CV. I mean, if I write that I did an intern at Amazon and Apple, and same I did an intern at let's any name XYZ, so people won't recognize you if you want to do switches and all. So that's one thing. In startup, what happens is, see, they are, again, in startup there is no one category of startup. They are different startups. One of them is whether they got funding, like they're very well established startups. So what I interned in startup, my experience was really very good. I mean, the process very less structured. The interviews are going to be just one person will call you and ask you something. and then maybe one person again will call you and ask you again something, and then they're like, yeah, come, we are offering you this. And the I mean, what you want to do in case of startup, just talk to the HR, the person that you're talking, that what exactly would be my job description, what I'll be doing, how much I have to contribute, and what's my end result. I mean, in startup, what happens is you start with a problem statement, and then it kind of shifts. I mean, some person say something, so be crisp and clear about what you want to do and what you want to achieve. Like that's one thing. And there are different startups, so just don't go randomly and apply to every startup. I mean, see if they are really doing some good work, if you want to be associated in some sort to their startup, and do these things, I guess maybe in your second or third year. Like again, come seeing the pre-final thing. In pre-final, I guess, I mean, if you know a startup that is doing very well, you like all the aspects of it, just go and hit on it. If they take you, they even might give you an offer there. But if you want that, I have to have the safety net of big name and all this, just go for corporate thing. So that's, I mean, if you want to know regarding like more depth about what was my work, just ping me. I can tell you anyone who is in.
So, okay. So I guess let's
I
move on
would
to
just
the.
like
Okay.
I would just like to emphasize one thing. I think both of them have covered, but whenever you go to startups, please get your project well understood. I mean, understand your project well. In big companies, generally they will give you project details, but in startups they might just give you rough details and an overview of it. But try to get as many details as possible, so that the things gets more structured and is mm, benefits you more. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, there are various factors for internships. So what do you think? How important was your CGPA in the selection process? So Chinmay, would you like to start answering this question?
Yeah. So uh, yeah, I have interned with a couple of companies, I guess, but I don't think they ever considered CGPA as a deciding factor. So yeah, I don't think they ever considered CGPA. I interned with research-based companies, and they mostly pay focus on what kind of research you pursued previously and what kind of experience you have, and if you can justify that in an interview. But I guess for CDC, okay, so we're talking off campus, so that doesn't make sense. But I think some Indian companies might again wanna look at your CGPA, but I think the international applications that you'll put in companies and startups, I don't think they would care much about your CGPA if you know what position you're applying for, if you know the deal. Yeah.
Okay. So Shivan, should you like to add something to this?
Yeah, man. Unless you are not pretty bad, like 30 or 5 CGPA, they won't even look at your CGPA. And like, I mean, it's as close as it can be, crisp and clear. The CGPA doesn't matter really. If you're applying for this, unless like again, if that thing highlights in the reviewer that it's 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10, he might again think that what he's doing in his life. But then again, if you have a good project, uh, basic line, no, they CGPA don't matter at all.
Okay. So Vidit, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, I think we all three are more of an ML interns and research interns, so I think that's why we never face
Yeah, I
that
mean,
issue of CG.
no, I've
Uh,
seen
uh,
software side also. I think they
okay.
don't look for
Mm,
much in the
But I
CV.
think
Yeah.
these hiring drives, which are like centralized drives, let's say if you apply in Goldman and they're taking
Hmm.
off campus, then they would, if they just need a filtering criteria, then they might use your
Yeah.
CGPA. Other than
And
that, I don't think it's relevant. Yeah.
and like if your CG is really low and you're very confident about your projects, that you can just skip that CG in your CV. Just don't put it there. I know people who have very bad CG and very bad department, so they neither put their department nor their CG. They're very confident about their projects and they just put that in their CV. So if you're that confident, you can even do that. But yeah, please don't then take. I mean, it does not mean that you take your CG for granted. Definitely. So yeah.
So yeah, moving on to the next question. What is the role of extra academic activities that plays like in the selection process? How important would that be? So Shivansh, would you like to add your insights on this?
Again, a very short answer. No, no, nothing. Zero. See,
But
they, yeah.
I think we are a very biased lot in that sense. Like we all applied for research-based positions, so
I mean,
obviously
no, no,
never
no.
match.
I've applied. Like the process is similar. So just to tell you about for LinkedIn. I mean, my team was AI research team, but the process is similar to also to as a software engineer. And I seriously think these things, I mean, they can very well work in, as an icebreaker. Like, let's say you are in a dramatic society and the interviewer is also in dramatic society or somewhat related to dramatics. They can start talking, and that informal tone may be a good thing. But then again, very less impact. And even if you write something, they don't care. I mean, this is the extracurricular activity in off campus, as what I've experienced is basically if you have some time left and you want to chit chat, you can chat about those things. Other than that, in deciding your worth, they don't. Yeah.
Okay, Vidit, would you like to answer about it?
Yeah, so see, all these things are just, add-ons. I mean, majorly they will decide upon your project and your caliber. But say if they get two people, like say it's an hypothetical situation, exactly two same people with everything same, and say you have better soft skills or because you have done many extra academic activities or something extra in your CV, then you might be preferable in that case. So all these things are just minor add-ons, but they will never be any major deciding factor in I think any of the roles you apply for.
Okay. So Chinmay, would you like to add something to it?
I think the skills that you develop, if you develop a good communication skill, that would be really nice in any interview that you ever give. But I don't think I mentioned my extracurriculars or they even care about extracurriculars. So not in tech-based roles, I am sure. But yeah, if you develop good communication skills, it's always good.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. As we know, there are many resources both in KGP and over the internet, uh, which we can follow. So, what resources did you use for your preparation, or you would suggest to use for the preparation? So, Vidit, would you like to start?
Um, See, there are two very, I would break these tech roles into two very standard roles. One is the SDE, and one is more like ML engineer, research intern, or whatever you say. So for SDE, I think most of you know, or from many FB posts or many posts by other people, that you simply need to go for that, you know, what is that site? Interview bit and all those competitive coding sites, and you just need to crack them. But whereas all these ML interns or more applied research interns are considered, they really test how you think about a problem statement. So it is really important that the projects that you did and that you write in your CV, you have an in-depth knowledge of it. Like not only the solution that you provide, but what can all possible solutions be to it, and what are the drawbacks to it. So I don't think so. I would, I mean, for the roles that we have interned in, I don't think so. I would say there's any particular preparation resources for it. It's just because you're passionate about that field. That's why you're applying for that role, and it is expected that you know in depth about whatever you are have done. And okay, so one or two things that I can add is like there are books. For example, in ML, sometimes they ask very basic questions, and you might just get stuck if you don't know that particular concept or it. So there are books like Bishop and all. I think you all, if anybody's pursuing ML, then I think you can just go over it. So it might help you in some questions in the interview.
Okay. Chinmay, would you like to add something to Vidit's saying?
Yeah, I think like the role that I applied for was in natural language processing and machine learning. So the it's a very dynamic field. So there is not one resource that you can like rely upon for all of the time. There are some fundamental resources like let's say some Coursera MOOCs or Bishop or let's say deep learning book or some of the resources which you can refer to have a strong fundamental, but like just to be updated you need to follow what research developments are taking place, and a good place for that is Medium blogs and articles and sometimes Twitter. So those are pretty much since and for the coding part like the machine learning interns in these companies like usually get a coding assessment as well. So I most of the questions, like there are very specific company specific questions that are present on LeetCode, which is a great resource if you want to refer. So a lot of people that I knew from US who applied for such resources roles do LeetCode, and a lot of questions often resemble the ones that are present there. So that is one of the resources that I used for coding. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Shivan, should you like to say something for
Yeah.
resources
So,
preparation?
yeah. So again, I've given a lot of interviews in off-campus interns. I mean, so see what happens is they start with some basic question. Either so again, as you can divide your interview whether you are an SD looking or ML or any say robotics intern also. I mean any kind of intern that you're looking in tech. Mostly they'll start jumping onto your CV either, or there will be a coding round for sure. I mean, if you're looking in tech profile and you know you're going to code, so they'll see your coding skills. For coding skills, they are very, structured process. And so can I tell hack like on this platform? I was like, I don't know. Matlab, what happened is in off-campus interviews, let's say if you are like two or three people giving interviews, right? So just ask to the people who have given interviews what questions were asked from you. It's a fair chance that the questions might get repeated, because what happens is I think they somehow manage some internal document and all these kind of things. So they only ask from, they don't, again, if you were in the shoes of the interviewer, you would say, okay, I have these questions, I can ask any one of them, so I'll just ask this one. So this has happened one time. So just look for the company specific questions, like coding questions. If you're going for the coding round, this is for the coding round, and prepare fairly well. Just don't skip the coding part, because you are very passionate about ML. I mean, in any case, either SD or this, you would need a good amount of coding skills. Not up to that extent that like very hardcore programming skills, but yeah, just the basic skills, optimization, and all these things. Regarding again, since I've given the ML part, regarding the ML part, what you can do is just prepare some what has all written in your CV, right? Let's say you have done some project on classifier, and you know how simple classifier works. So they can ask you questions starting from, like, let's say, what are trees, what are these gradient boosting algorithms, how are they performed. They can ask you as deep as they want. Like, you would have to be very crisp and clear about the topics and the things that they have used, as also like mentioned by these both. So prepare those things well. I mean, at my time, what I did was, uh, the one thing that helped me a lot was the projects that I did. The projects which I was written in CV, I did them all on my own. So I know like bits and pieces of it, what all went through the preparation. So I can tell it like a story. This went, I did this, and this goes, and this. And then I study at the same time. So I was able to give those answers more correctly. But recently, what I've seen that they can ask you simple questions also, like not just from CV, but from outside ML, simple questions. So maybe I can, there's one website I recently discovered. You can go to it and check. I've posted chat, like I've posted the link in the chat. You can see and go there, and there are some questions related to some topics, so you can cover it, kind of similar to what lead code and all these things. So yeah, that's all. I guess there's someone was raising hand. I don't
Oh, I guess. Oh.
know. Vaibhav Mehta.
Yeah, Vaibhav, you can write your questions in the chat box. We'll take up the questions at last. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. As we are already in the month of February, what do you think would be the best strategy for the preparation with the best utilization of the time that is remaining? So, Chinmay, would you like to start with it?
Yeah. If you're looking for an internship this summer, you might have tough luck with some of the multinationals if you're trying to approach the big companies because they have a very well placed drive which is like systematic and only if you had referral earlier then you would get your interviews at this point of time. But other than that, it's nothing to lose hope. There are a lot of startups and a lot of Indian companies would still take in people. Application strategy, I think, because it's already February. So I think first and foremost should be making a good CV and then looking for what kind of roles you want to apply to. But I'd suggest that you do this along with your preparation and whatever you want to do about your whatever goals you have in regard with the amount of knowledge you need to have before an internship or application. So I think go about developing your fundamentals, pursuing whatever projects or other things you are doing, and at the same time just start this process of listing down websites and positions, people, making contacts, sending LinkedIn requests, and making good CV. So yeah, that is what I'll suggest.
So, yeah, Shivansh, would you like to add on it?
Um, the best application and preparation. See, this is again February. I mean, most of I expect all of you to have started somewhat around December, January. I don't. So if you have started, then it's well, good and fine. If you are in this mode and you see you can't apply for um, multinational companies for one reason, that visa process would take time. They won't accept even this late. They won't entertain any of the applications this late. So just don't waste time in applying for companies overseas. In Indian companies, most of their placement drives happen in sprints. So they have this February, this December sprint, then January sprint, then February sprint. I mean, these sprints I guess last till March at max, because they have to start this onboarding process. So what happens is just preparation study, I guess, would be to just talk to any of the people working there. And this time, you have to do some more extra work. So just tell them that please directly talk to HR that I am in a need of intern. Don't go on the portal things and all these things. So just tell them directly that I need an intern. Please slide my CV to HR and tell them that I need an intern. So if, I mean, at this point of time, it's most likely that HR have to entertain you on a subjective basis. So you won't count in that collective drive of internal placement. So that's one thing. So just again, talk to people working there and tell them or request them to slide in your CV. Preparation strategy, I mean, the same thing that we told in the resources one. I mean, prepare for your CV and all these things. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, so with it, would you like to add something from your experience?
Yeah. So regarding overseas companies, I think COVID is a very good thing in this case. I know people who are applying to the companies and they are also getting interviews, and only the condition is you will not go there, you will just work from home. So I think of course, big companies might be an issue. They might be definitely be an issue, but if you are aiming for some good startups, then I think there's still a chance. You're not that late. I think, and other things are, I think, covered by other two
Yeah, I mean,
panelists.
in startup, I one thing I want to add is they hire mostly startup. They hire on an immediate basis. I mean, there is no great structure as compared to big companies. So even in startup, you can even apply like in April or so, till April or so. Basically, they hire like you give them CV, the interview, and they'll hire immediately. Like, yeah, come intern with us and these kind of things. So for startups, it's always like you can always try out different things. And one thing that I want to, in general, convey about off-campus internships is, don't So I explained by this very mathematical term that don't maximize your probability, maximize your expectancy. I mean, don't just focus on one company and give your all energy towards one company. Instead, apply to 10 different companies. You would get a better chance of getting into either one or two of them. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. Uh, any suggestions you have for the interview process? So Shivansh, would you like to start with this question?
Yeah, suggestions for the interview. So see, depending on the company, there can be multiple rounds of interviews you are going to have. First, first and foremost interview, I guess, if you're applying for a tech role, there might be a chance that you are getting a coding interview. Coding is straightforward. They'll ask question and you have to do these kinds of things, and that is more structured. And I mean, yeah, that can be handled if you know the coding well. Regarding the different research projects or the project interview, basically CV round, that's what we say here. Uh, so what happened is, in CV they're going to ask you again different things. Be well prepared for the interview, communicate very well, and it shouldn't be something like this that they've given you something to ask and you are just thinking on your own. You're not taking help from the interviewer. I mean, it's an interview, not a test, so interviewer is there to help you. He's there to guide you. So if you are stuck anywhere, just ask him directly that, I'm stuck here. And one thing that I messed up in my like there's an Amazon interview. So I mean, there was one project I did with one other guy, and I wrote about it, and I thought that maybe, when they ask about it, I can tell that, this was a part done by me. Because what happens in these kind of projects and internship, there can be, multiple people in one project, so you write down the whole project. Let's say a project involving two topics, X and Y, and you write down whole the thing, and then you only know X part. So the interviewer may ask you about Y, like the interviewer is very expert in that Y part, and he can grill you about that thing, and you're not confident. So either don't write in the interview or tell in the beginning that, I did this part only, so you can ask me about these things in that project. So that I mean, that creates a very bad image of you if you are writing something and then you don't know about it. It means you're faking up, and that's the end of your interview. If you're faking up, then the interview will get pissed off, and yeah, that's the thing. Also, if you are going for an interview, just don't read your CV. Read about in general. So see, when you're applying for big companies, they might even take a next step and ask you, how would you scale this thing. What the projects that we have worked on are very small projects, right? We have worked on either on some industrial projects or projects with professor, but they are big companies, they want to scale it big. So they can ask you some system design question about how would you want to handle this big amount of data, what you would do with that, they can maybe ask you, write on a pipeline for the whole process. So you need to have all those understanding, like the big picture. How are you going to handle these big amount of things? Basically, the scaling part. Yeah. So just don't prepare only from your CV. Prepare your CV well and other different interview parts. And it would be great if you could, have someone, your friend, if the friend has given some sort of interview, just ask him what was the question. Most likely they are going to repeat.
Okay. So Vidit, would you like something to add to the experience?
Yeah, so if you get selected for the interview, try very hard to find someone who has already given the interview of that company. Not to just know the questions, but also to know the pattern, like what all rounds will be there and how will the things go. That really makes you much more comfortable during the interview. And I think rest is all about that preparation that I think we already covered previously. And yeah, do prepare the basics. I mean, sometimes we just know everything about the projects that we do and everything, but sometimes the interview might just skip each and everything and just hit the very basic question, like what is the derivation of this basic formula. And then although you know how to use it, you have used it hundred of times and you know every ifs and buts of it, but you just don't know that very simple derivation or what does it mean, then it might not be good for you. So for that, just refer to some basic ML books that you already told, or not ML. I mean, in whichever field you are applying, just refer to that books which cover the basics.
Yeah. So Chinmay, would you like to add some thoughts to the same?
I think most of the things have been covered, but some minor things that I could add would be if you don't know the answer to any question, you should accept that and not try to give fundas, because mostly the interviewer knows that you're trying to give fundas. They're very experienced people in that sort. So you should keep a very positive air with your interviewer. You should keep smiling and try to maintain a good contact. And yeah, you should accept if you don't know something. Besides that, yeah, just be confident about the things that you know, and read up on the fundamentals, because interviewers don't expect you to know very high level stuff or very complex stuff. So brushing up on the fundamentals, especially in the fields that are relevant to the position that you're applying for. So if there is somehow you can get to know what kind of work you're going to do before the interview, then you can like brush up on those topics a lot, and then express that you know about these topics. That would hugely add to your candidature.
Yeah, just small thing that I just thought of. So if you know the interviewer like before the interview starting, so then there is some cases you know the interview. Just talk him and see what he is working on and what is his specialization. There is a highly chance that he'll ask from his application field what he's been working on. So he's more confident on those fields, so he'll ask mostly on those fields. So if you could stalk him and gather some info about him, just do that. Yeah.
Okay, so let us move on to the Q&A session. There are like this most asked queries and doubts from our audiences. So yeah, you have already mentioned the resources, like sort of what we have to go like, but can you note them down? Like, it's like what are the resources where we can get updates regarding the internship for UG level, and also is there any specific timeline to apply for the same? So yeah. So, Vidit, would you like to answer this?
You are on mute, Vidit. Vidit, you are on mute. Yes. Hello.
Um, Vidit, hello. Yeah.
Vidit,
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, actually, I didn't understood the question completely. So, what you're saying that resource for each and everything, like news about the internship and
Yeah.
uh,
Basically, the resources what we have to follow, like where would we get the insights regarding these things, the websites and all those stuff.
I think so. Most of the news that I get is from either Twitter or LinkedIn. I think if I say roughly that these are the two broad social media that I follow for any news regarding internships or placements. So like just follow the relevant people and send friend requests to the relevant people, and I think it should be good. Other than that, regarding the resources, so for ML, I can say I think Bishop is a very good book. You can follow that. You should follow that at least once. You should read that. And other than that, you can, yeah, GitHub. Yeah, of course, GitHub. Yeah, you can, there are very good repos created in the GitHub, which keep an update of various things. For example, there are fellowship programs or internship programs. You can just, type, they are generally named awesome internships or maybe awesome resources. Something like that is named in the GitHub repo. And you can just search that and you will really find very good resources for that. And GitHub is actually a very good place to find resources about interviews and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Shivansh and Chinmay, would you like to add on it?
Yeah, I happened to apply through a research conference. That is a place where a lot of these companies who are interested in the topic, they come for hiring. So yeah, you can explore this option of publishing your own paper or a workshop paper or a conference paper in the topic of your interest, and then go and approach the recruiters who are present there. Besides that, the most of the things that I got to know about was mostly from my friends or seniors, other than LinkedIn. So yeah, just being in the community and like knowing all the people who are working in your field of interest, I think that adds to a lot of the resources that you have at your hand. So yeah, I think those are some of the things that I used.
So
Just adding on to that. See, the one thing that Chinmay told is very useful. What happens is when you know what you're going to do, just publish some paper, or even you can attend the conference if you have some student discount or something, because there are some booths like in this conference. So companies come and they have a career fair there. They openly hire at that place, and you get a good referral. I mean, directly from that conference. So it's high chance that that referral is going to fruit into something very good, because conferences are highly valued. That's one thing. Second thing is seniors. I mean, in my whole KGP timeline, applied to various places, and most of the time seniors helped me. I mean, I was in constant touch with some seniors, and I used to ping them that if there's some opening in your team, please let me know, or please refer me here or there. So they used to do it. Uh, Regarding some other things, what I did was so let's say you are doing a this one very minor thing, but this worked in my case. Uh, if you're doing a project in some prof or something, just ask him, because the prof is mostly associated with one or say more industries, so he can also refer you. I mean, people don't generally go out and ask professor, but I did, and I asked professor that, yeah, I'm looking for an intern and I'm not, so just use this phrase that I'm into research and all, and I'm going to do these things, I'm not into corporate things. So then they'll be impressed that, yeah, he's going to research, so they can obviously refer you to some places. So that's one thing. Apart from that, so again, what was the second part of the question?
it was like, is there any specific timeline where to apply for the same, like for the
Yeah, I mean,
companies?
again, that we told in that preparation strategy thing, there is no specific timeline. The process is very unstructured, and the most unstructured process is actually like from the time you decide to get an off-campus internship and to the time you get an interview. The time between these two events is very unstructured. You have to try hands at different places, and then you might get some luck and finding something. So just again, I can reiterate that thing because that's important. Please try for many places. Just don't focus on one place. You found your dream place. I want to intern here. I'll apply that off campus. People won't see your application even. So just try for different places. Twitter, please join Twitter. It's the best platform to use, and get updates about all the things that you see. People generally post there. LinkedIn, it's the best time to use your 1 month free trial if you're looking for off-campus intern. Just use that, and use your in-mail credits to ping people. This again, people generally don't know the benefits of that premium, because I was one among them. But you can also see the applications. I mean, whether you're in top percentage or not, and they can push your application. So that's one thing. Yeah, I guess I covered some things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I added a link to a repository. There are other repositories like this as well. So some students, I don't think, I don't know any popular ones for India, but some people in Europe and US, they maintain such repositories for companies, and you can like take reference from here. But after you find a position that's open, you must like try to have a referral for that, because cold mailing wouldn't work with companies. Yeah.
Okay, so there is this question from Abhishek. How important is CP, and like what type of ranking is required for if in case if we are going for the software part? So yeah,
If anyone would like to add this.
got it.
Yeah,
So
again, yeah. So
yeah.
maybe I can go first. So see, there's one thing you are like unlucky here is we all three are from research profile. We haven't applied to core software development. I mean, we have been. So I've applied to Amazon, LinkedIn, and all these places, but there was research role. So regarding the CP thing, I can tell you from my experience with my friends, what happened is if there is this code forces rank written on the top of your thing now, it might help you a bit. But see, when you're applying for off campus, most likely uh, you have tried that CDC part. Okay, if you're so well in competitive, I'm assuming you have got that intern, because in CDC that's the most basic hurdle you have to cross. Now, if you're going for an off-campus, I think uh, more more focus should be on your projects. I mean, the cool projects. Let's say if you're going for software development, so how let's say you develop some application or some website using Flutter or React or something like that. I mean, that's more impressive, or your portfolio is more impressive than your CP rank, in my opinion. Because in off-campus, people generally look for your work. They don't have that filter of CP and all these things. They would so there is no filtering on CP, so you directly get into interview, and now you can judge upon yourself how well your CP would stand in that interview. Yeah.
So, Chinmay, with it, would you like to add something?
Yeah. If you're considering data and ML profiles, I don't think there is any specific cutoff for Codeforce's ranking or any such thing that you require. I think Python programming would be a good add-on because most of the development in machine learning would take place in Python, and the knowledge of a few frameworks like PyTorch or TensorFlow, if you are well versed in any of those, that would really add to your competencies. But yeah, I mean, I never applied for a software role, so I don't have much knowledge about that part.
So,
But
yeah, extending this question, there is also like something Yash asked. It's like if he is applying for ML and data profile, so how, to what extent shall he read about the data structures and algorithms? So,
I think doing lead code easy medium would be fine. InterviewBit is also a nice resource if you don't want to go into like CP based profiles. Yeah, implementing these stuff and like the generic questions on array, DP, sometimes like strings or whatever kind of role you're applying to. So if I applied to an international position and there the my coding round was not definite like particularly if you consider the normal CP round here. So they asked me questions which related to NLP. So they wanted me to code something which relates to NLP, which is like TF-IDF. So it's not like they gave me a generic CP kind of question. So if you're applying for an international role, I think that you don't need to know very like in-depth CP. So if you know basic programming and how to work your way around things, I think that should be fine.
okay.
So
With it,
anyone
would
else?
you like to add it?
Um, I don't know how relevant is it here, but maybe I don't think so. This point has been covered, but keep your GitHub profile good. I mean, if you do some project or uh, anything, maybe even a homework which has a coding based assessment, like put it on GitHub and just make it look good. Like put a good README and how we can use it and all that. So in all these roles, GitHub might be something which can be impressive about your resume. So it tells you a lot about what coding practices do you follow and related stuff.
Okay,
I think
there is.
also if you have a good blog or any place where you write your own tutorials or simplify things and just like summarize all that you've read and put it in a presentable fashion, I think that should also help in a lot of positions. It really tells people that you're interested in that field.
Okay, there is also this question from Manthan. It is like, can you list the authentic and complete syllabus books for MLDL and NLP?
Uh,
So,
yeah. So see, I've listed down one. So Vidit has already told about the bishop part. I mean, see, you don't have to read all book. That's a bit. I mean, if you're going for a professorship or a PhD, man, that can help. But if you want an intern, just don't read whole book. What I can suggest, the method, like the step one should be, you know the basics of the ML because you have done some projects. Okay, so brush up on those skills. Second is, you know what your project is about. Just go to those topics and learn every tech that you've used or algo you've used there. Third and thing is, look for general questions asked in ML interview. One I've listed on one website, that's confetti.ai, and there's some doc over GitHub repos. You can consider them. Like just go and see those questions. More or less, see, you can't cover everything because the topic is a research topic. You can't cover everything you've done, but just cover what you have done very well. Like, let's say your project is in natural language processing. Okay, so cover what comes in natural language processing very well. Just you need to have that brain of NLP. So let's say at the time of interview, you don't know about some algo, so you could think on your own and say something. So that's, yeah. I can maybe share one doc that I used, but again, it's subjective to the different people.
Yeah, one question in chat box is language C++ necessary? I mean, is Python okay, or we should change to C++? Yes, asked.
I think that would depend on the kind of role you're applying for. For machine learning and AI, I think Python should do well. There is, I haven't come across, mostly, I haven't come across positions who require you to know C or C++. Obviously, like knowing more languages always helps you and it adds to your CV. But I think if you're applying for core ML kind of positions, Python should do fine.
If Shivansh, if you would like to add anything to this.
No. Language, I think any one language that you're comfortable with is really fine. Most likely, if you're going to work in ML based in companies, they're going to be Python only. So that's the thing. I mean, language is not a barrier even. You need to know the concepts well. Yeah.
Okay, Vidit, if you would like to say anything.
I think it is same as what they both have said. Nothing much to add.
So one question was, is there any difference between one CDC intern or any non-CDC intern? Does that play any important role in the placements? Anyone would like to take up question?
I don't think so. No, not at all.
Uh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what do you
Go.
mean by this question? I mean, whether doing an CDC intern would help you in CDC placements. That's what you're thinking, or
Would it help in the in placement season if internships from CDC or non-CDC, if they are any different or they are
Like
the same?
something, there's a difference in, like, is there a difference in the CV, the resume, the part of that, of applying and all that stuff?
I mean,
I
we'll talk
don't.
all about what should be a CV for our campus. Maybe the person can ask a question. I mean, you can unmute him. I think the question is not clear.
Yeah,
I think by what I understand is if you're thinking if you get an off-campus internship, would that be like a something that would weigh you down in your CDC placement process? If
Oh, that part.
that is what I understand. So,
I think.
like
Yeah,
I
please
think for
continue.
technical roles, if you did a good internship and the company was fine, I think that wouldn't matter. But since I've applied to both technical and non-technical roles in placement, I think for the non-technical roles in some management kind of roles, consulting management or product development or something like things like that, they sometimes I've heard that they do consider that if you got a day one intern in CDC, that's like considered better by their standards. But if you get a good intern in any good company, I don't think it matters much. Yeah.
I mean, to the contrary, I can say one thing. If you have applied for an off-campus intern, and if you are very good at convincing HR, they might give you an offer, bypassing the CDC thing. Okay, in that case, what happens is you can even sit for the placement, like in CDC. I don't know if that is allowed or that. I mean, according to institute rules. But what happens is in some companies, let's say you got some in international, it works very fine. So for the companies that are not visiting CDC, you can have an offer from that company, and then you can sit in CDC as well. So that's the benefit, even if you're going for an off campus. And regarding the one more thing, I mean, you that's a far-fetched thing, but I think you can talk about it. So let's say you are with an off-campus intern, and in that part you can obviously negotiate with your salary part. I mean, what happens in CDC, there's a fixed thing. They can't increase, they can't decrease. What they have told is told. In off-campus, that's subjective, right? So you can have a good negotiation in that sense also, that part also. So yeah, rest all the same.
Adding to that thing, like some Indian companies which you apply to off campus, if they also come to campus, they would send your pre-placement offer to the to campus, and then you can't have double offers.
Yeah.
But yeah, for international, it works really well. They don't have any idea about CDC process.
Yeah, happened with me, so I can tell. Like my LinkedIn was off campus, but they sent through CDC, so I couldn't sit.
Okay, so yeah, we are done with our questions now. So yeah, we will just go on with this. Any general fun day and suggestions, tips and tricks for the KGP people?
देखो इंटर्न तो लग जाएगी, उसका लोड मत लेना। ये बहुत जनरल फंड है। सेकेंड ईयर से फिफ्थ ईयर तक एक चीज समझ आएगी, इंटर्न तो लग जाती है। एंड इफ यू आर कॉन्फिडेंट अच्छी जगह लग जाएगी, नो मैटर नवंबर में लग रही है या अप्रैल में लग रही है। बट सो जस्ट डोंट पुट अ लॉट ऑफ प्रेशर ऑन योरसेल्फ।
ऐसी चीज़ है कि देख, अगर तुम इंटर्न भी कहीं पे कर रहे हैं एंड यू हैव ऑप्शंस और समथिंग लाइक देखना, तो सी फॉर कंपनी, अगर तुम्हें पीपीओ चाहिए, सो आई कैन टॉक अबाउट दैट एस्पेक्ट बिकॉज आई नो, अगर तुम्हें पीपीओ चाहिए सो चूज अ कंपनी हु इज गोइंग टू, लाइक तुम्हें पता है कि उसका कन्वर्जन्स आर गुड। आई मीन दे डू कन्वर्ट इंटर्न ऑफर टू एन full time offer, and there is no, you know, interview thing between it, and the company is really good in converting those offers. There's a good number. So because what happens is, let's say you got an intern, now you're going to work very hard for it, and then let's say company की policy है कि they don't generally allow for conversions. In that case you will be like stuck कि you're waiting for the confirmation, or you're waiting, or they have already denied, and then yeah, that, I mean Vidit can have a, you know, good light on this. He suffered this thing. So
So it's, I mean, I think you cannot be even sure about it. There might be cases where the company has given PPOs or PPIs, but due to
yeah.
some situation or some internal matters, it might not be the case every year. So
And Chinmay can talk a lot about international offers. They don't generally, you know, fruit well.
Yeah, there is always some part that there is some uncertainty. It's not like in India they are looking to convert you. That's all why they hire you. That always stays. But besides that, like I'd say it's easy to get an intern, and if some first second years have joined, they really don't need to take a lot of load about interns. Uh, you should first develop your fundamentals and your basics, and then move on to getting things on your CV.
and yeah, so just say if you're not able to get an intern, there are various things that you can do on your own. I mean, there are hundreds of opportunities. For example, again, this is an ML batch, so I would give that related fund. If you're interested in ML, NLP, CV, or anything, pick up a conference, pick up a problem statement, and just try to solve it. Other than that, you can just, you know, read, as Chinmay said, just read about things and put up a very nice blog and a good interface or code that you can develop for it, for people to understand it better. So all those things, if you think they don't matter, especially this blogging and making re-implementing things, they are much more important or impressive than you think.
जनरल फंडा यार, एक तो ये है कि जितने लोगों को तुम पकड़ सकते हो, जितने लोगों को पिंग कर सकते हो करो, like piss them off. Either they should have two options, either to block you or to give referral. I mean KGP people would support you a lot, but you can directly ping to LinkedIn like random people, and obviously use your LinkedIn premium wisely. uh, Again, promoting LinkedIn as well, there's like this LinkedIn learning. What you can do is say some any course, you can pick it up and then complete it. So what it does is on your profile the course stays, so then your profile is then referred to relevant places. So I know that this internal thing happens, so that I can tell you. So if you are into something, just do the courses on LinkedIn, and then that badge stays. uh, yeah, I mean, people are the most important asset in off-campus intern. Just remember this thing.
Yeah, and besides that, I'd really appreciate like suggest you to have like interact with the people in campus who are into the field that you're trying to pursue, because there is only so much that you can explore on your own, and that is like the benefit of coming to an IIT, that you get to interact with people, really motivated people who are working in your domain. So always try to leverage on that resource that you have.
Yeah. Apart from it, if you want any like specific question, you can ping either. I guess they're comfortable. I guess any one of us, just FB or Twitter or LinkedIn, anywhere you can ping us and have your questions.
I guess we are almost done. So this was a really productive session for all of us. I'm sure the students pursuing the same will have got lots of benefits from your answer. So now this session is coming to an end. I would like to thank our panelists Vidit Goel, Shivansh Mudra, and Chinmay Singh who gave their precious time.
I mean, we are all in the same boat, bro. COVID mein, you can take this time.
Thank you.
Chill. Bye everyone. Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck in
Bye-bye.
your internship journey.
Good luck. Bye.
Yeah, yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.